Hey, you. Welcome to or welcome back to Motivation Maven, a sub show of the Preventative Mental Health Show, where we focus on motivation and inspiration to combat procrastination while simultaneously sharing practical health tips to improve your overall resilience and mindset for life. So, I'm Keisha, and I am thrilled that you are tuned in. So, normally, we release new episodes every single Monday, but Monday was a holiday. Well, I should say for some of us. So if you had to go into work yesterday, if you're following week by week, hey, I hope you're having a great week thus far. And for those of you who had a nice long weekend, it's our Monday. We got to get back at it. We got to jump back in and get back on our routine. So, needless to say, whether you're watching this in morning, noon, or night, or in order, out of order, what matters is you're here and there's some words of wisdom to share. So, I'm going to share a little story with you. It's a Chinese proverb that I heard last week for the very first time. Like I said, you might have heard it already, but what I loved about it was that it was jam-packed with goodness. So, I'm not going to read it word for word, but I am going to share some highlights. And I can tell you right now, if you go online and you look it up, there are multiple different versions out there, but they're all focused on the same thing. So let's jump right in. It says, once upon a time in a small village in rural China, there lived a farmer. He had a small plot of land where he worked tirelessly to provide for his family. Now, one day his only horse ran away, and when the neighbors heard about this, they came over with sympathy. What terrible luck, they explained, but the farmer simply replied, maybe. A few days later, everyone's surprised, the horse returned, leading a herd of wild horses with it. The neighbors rushed to recognize and congratulate the farmer on his newfound fortune. What incredible luck, they said. But again, the farmer just replied, maybe. So the next day, the farmer and his son tried to break some of the wild horses. And while he was trying to train the horses, his son fell and broke his leg. So here come the neighbors coming over, sharing their sympathy and letting him know what horrible luck he has. Well, a few weeks later, a war broke out in the region, and all of the able-bodied men had to join the army. But because his son had a broken leg, he was overlooked from the draft. And his neighbors then once again came over and told him what good luck he has. And the man just simply replied, maybe. All right. So I love this story because there's power in words, and I think the words that are in the story matter. It starts off where the farmer kept saying maybe. What I loved about the term or the phrase or the word, I should say, maybe, is the fact that I took it as this farmer is saying, I don't know what tomorrow holds, but I do know my present circumstance. And what may seem like a blessing and what may seem like a curse today may not be the outcome for tomorrow. And I think it's a nice lesson to remind us to stay present, to not jump to conclusions. I know I'm totally guilty of that. Don't jump to conclusions. Just embrace what is happening in that moment and deal with your current circumstance. Obviously, I'm sure he wasn't happy his child broke his leg. I know I would never be happy that one of my kids got hurt in any way. But what I could do is focus on my son, just like he focused on the present. I can focus on the circumstance and I could do what I have control to accomplish in that moment. I mean, let's put ourselves in the story. All right, so you're trying to break these horses, they're wild horses, you get injured, you cater to your son. You take care of him. You cater to the environment and make sure that everything is stable and making sure that you're adjusting and shifting because, I mean, I haven't lived on a farm, but I know it's all hands on deck. And if the son is now not able to accomplish his chores, then the family has to shift and adjust. But we oftentimes can miss the adjustments when we get caught up with worrying about what's tomorrow. Because when we stay present, we can still stay productive. I mean, a farm is not going to run itself if you're sitting on the couch. And if everybody plays a part in a role, their part in role is important. But if we don't focus in on the present, we miss things. But also what I thought was interesting was that this group of neighbors kept coming over unsolicited with their advice and their opinions. This happens to us all the time. All the time. Everyone watching in the gallery, watching the matinee, which is your life, has an opinion as to what you should do, how you should move, how you should dress, what job you should have, the behavior of your children, we can go on and on. We can listen or we can pick and choose who we're actually going to invite over, because these neighbors came over uninvited. There's the gallery that's going to share their opinion, and then there's the people that you identify as, yes, these are my folks that are going to sit at my board of directors, sit at my table, and I can trust their insight because it's input that is going to be for me and good for me, and not, well, you never know the neighbor's motives. So here is this group that comes over and is providing all of this input that is unsolicited. Again, the neighbor had two choices. He could ignore them, or he can accept what they're saying and ride on whatever wave that they were sharing. Because mind you, they came with positivity and negativity. Every other day, it was something else. If we just accept the energy of everything around us, we tend to fall. What do I mean by this? If you're in the workplace and people are coming in with a bad attitude and they're frustrated and they're bringing all of their messy junk in the office, and you get caught up into the drama, you now start to embody that messy junk. You're now carrying their load and their frustration. But if we pick and choose what conversations we allow in our lives, if we pick and choose what we accept to fill our minds, it doesn't matter if someone comes in with a cloud of frustration. We're able to stay rooted and grounded on our path. And that brings me to another point. We all have goals. We all have things that we are striving for. But when we get so focused on other people's opinions, instead of our road being straight. Now, if your road is straight, I'm not saying your path to your goal is going to be easy. You may come across multiple storms and detours and delays. All of that. But if we now start to let other folks try to guide and direct our paths, we may end up finding ourselves veering off into a direction that we should never be going, all because we're allowing outside influence. So what I got from this story was stay present. What I got from this story was don't allow outside influence to influence you. But my favorite part was that all he said was maybe. Maybe. I love that because it's saying, look, I don't know. And you could be right, or you may not be right. But what I do know is that I just can stay present. Now I'm kind of curious. I'm going to look this up real quick. What is the definition of maybe? I want to know what the official definition is. It's like on my mind. It's taking forever. All right. It says maybe is defined as perhaps or possibly. Perhaps or possibly. I love that. Because there's a possibility for anything to happen. But if we get so caught up with focusing on tomorrow, we absolutely miss what's happening today. So that's our challenge for this week. There's going to be people, I'm sure right now, you already thought of some people that keep putting their input in on your situation that you did not ask for. So this week, the challenge, and maybe it's not even challenge, the focus is on staying present, regardless of what happens. Staying present. Doing your best not to worry about tomorrow. Whew, I know it's not easy. I know it's not easy, but don't worry about tomorrow. Tomorrow's coming no matter what. But worry about, or not worry, don't worry at all. Focus on what's going on today. So our quote for this week is the following: in the midst of chaos, there's always opportunity. In the midst of chaos, there's also opportunity. But I think I'm going to add to that because we just looked up the definition of maybe. So I'm going to say our official quote for this week is: in the midst of chaos, there's also opportunity and possibility. Opportunity and possibility. Be aware this week. Keep your head on a swivel. Recognize when folks are providing their input that is unsolicited, and making sure that you're able to manage the expectations around you so they stay steady and you don't fall into fear for the future. I say it every week. Man, I wish I could say, oh, this is going to be easy. Because you may not even recognize or realize how much input is being pushed on you every day. So just know throughout this week, in the midst of the chaos, there's also opportunity and possibility. Remember, you are absolutely worthy of the life that you want to live. Till next time, have an amazing week. Oh, and by the way, you got this. Don't worry about if you can do this week. No, just focus on today. 1 hour at a time. And I know you got this. Have an awesome week.